Hello and welcome to another episode of the Retro Perspective podcast. Today joining me is Mort from Mort's Moments.
Hi there. I am joining you, and it's taken a while to get this sorted out, really, hasn't it? You've been waiting for me to finish my office, which, still got a blank wall that I need to fill up, but never mind.
Well, we've taken a bit of a break from the podcast and also from YouTube as well, because I left my camera in Doncaster for a few days, which was a pain in the ass. But I got it posted to me, so it's back now. So we've got a bit of a political one for the news stories today, which but it wasn't on purpose that I've done this. It's just the news that's happened recently.
Okay.
So first off, Prince Harry has come out and said that Fortnite should be banned in the UK.
Yes, he did, didn't he? Yes, that was that last week or the week before?
Yeah, last week, I believe.
Yeah. William and Harry have grown up in the same era as us two. They are, going to be in the same age as us, and they've done the same gaming, escalation, from the old 8 bits all the way through. So I'm guessing they're going to be bigger gamers than, say, Charles is. So anyone is going to...
that's definite.
Anyone is going to mention about this. It is going to be Harry or William. But it's somewhat the, saying a game needs to be banned, someone like that saying a game needs to be banned, and it's not exactly it's not a terrible game. It's not a controversial game. It's just a game where a lot of kids seem to be addicted to it, and they're screaming at the moment and get told to get off. And that's the only thing I ever hear about it. It's either it's free to play or some kid screaming at his mum. Yeah.
I can't get my kid off Fortnite. He just won't get off it, and it's like, well, whose job is it to get your kid off Fortnite?
My mum, when I was younger, my mum definitely got us off when she needed to get us off. It was, you didn't say no more than once. It was just like, get off. Okay. It was like, we rarely argued. But as you say, that's their job. If they don't want their kid to play Fortnite, or if they've got a naughty child, then just delete it.
But he said about being in the army when he was flying helicopters.
Yeah,
it was fun for me because I love playing PlayStation and Xbox. So I thought my thumbs would be quite useful. That's what he said of flying Apache helicopters.
I remember that quote or something similar to that from when he was doing it about 15 years ago. He was flying the helicopters. I'm trying to think now. Yeah, I remember when he went into army and it was like, we're going to put special things on there. But you're right. Yeah, him saying that is kind of similar to a recent army advertisement. If you're good at playing games, and you should be good at going into army. So it's kind of like that. What you've said, they're playing PlayStation and using the Apache helicopters. That's what they're using now to get people into the army. Saying, well, if you're good at this, you'll be good at flying a drone because it's the same controller. There's so.
For me, it's a very damaging way of talking about video games, and I touched on this in my ride along video, where the main character in Ride Along played like Call of Duty style and Grand Theft Auto style games. And then he was like driving a car. He'd never really drove a car before in his life, I don't think. And then all of a sudden he's just like, wait, I can do this because I played Grand Theft Auto. And all of a sudden he was like an amazing getaway driver.
Yeah.
And then he's like, he can recognize what gun it is by the sound of the bullets because he's played Call of Duty style game. And it's like that to me is saying that video gaming can equate to real life. Like there needs to be that distinction between this is a game and this is reality.
Yes, I do. I always thought of it the other way around. Saying that like this is like playing a game. It's like you dehumanizing someone that you're trying to kill. I know you've got to have a little bit of a disconnect if you're in the army, but you still need to think of these people as a real person, not just it's someone on a screen that I can shoot at. That's it. It's kind of, we've got the same idea on that, just on the opposite sides of that coin. It's like I think it's always been like bad of join the army. It's like a game. Like,
yeah.
No, come on, it's not. it's not. But I can see like on the other side, it's I think it happens in other guys as well. One of them does a good driving move. It's like, oh, where'd you learn that? Grand Theft Auto. It's like, I don't think anyone's ever learned a driving move from the game and be able to do it in real life.
Yeah. It's what people always say that it's tying back into the violence in video games type thing, isn't it? That people are disassociated from reality when they play in video games. And I think that quote from Harry, even if he didn't mean it that way, is kind of ignorant to me.
It is a bit, yes.
Yeah.
Being patriotic is a good thing. It's those people that are just proud because of this, because they're part of a country. It's like it's not skill. It's, well done. You won the race.
Yeah. For me, it just irks me that so many British people, especially, I find, are, like you say, proud, but they do it in more of a we're better than everyone else kind of way.
Yeah.
And the royal family is a bit part of that, because loads of people just say, oh, you can't criticize the royal family. Well, you can. There's many ways you can criticize the royal family.
You can nowadays. A few hundred years ago, you couldn't criticize the royal family. You'd be on chopping block. Things have changed a lot. But
let's move on to the next story. Which is, are you a fan of Bioware?
Yes, but not as much recently. You saw my games every week. I've got KOTOR and KOTOR 2. I played them a lot, and I think I've got Jade Empire as well. That's BioWare, but I haven't played that as much. And I did play Old Republic a little bit, and the first Mass Effect, I played that all the way through. So I have played a lot of BioWare games, but I stopped playing them, not because they were BioWare games, but because I just didn't have time for massive games. But I do like it. I do like them because I want to make KOTOR 3. Get on with it. But it's like if you made KOTOR 3, I think I'd be all over it.
I'm exactly the same. I absolutely love Knights of the Old Republic. Played a bit of Neverwinter Nights, and I like Baldur's Gate as well. But ever since Mass Effect became just a massive franchise, I've just kind of thought, you know what, this isn't that great. And especially things like the dialogue trees, which influenced Fallout 4 in a very negative way. For me, I've always been like, I don't really see what the big deal is with Mass Effect. Like when all this hype was coming out for Anthem and people being like, oh, it's the next BioWare game, this is going to be huge. I've never been on that hype train for Anthem.
No, I wasn't. There's a lot of times now I try not to get on the hype train, because Anthem, they advertised that, was it last year or 2 years ago they started on, and it's just like, I'm sick of hearing about a game like 2 years in advance. It's just, I've been hit a couple of times. I'm like, why am I still waiting for that game? Or by the time it comes out, Watch Dogs was another one, and it wasn't even the graphical downgrade or whatever. But by the time it had come out, I got so sick of hearing about it. I can't be bothered now.
Yeah.
I was excited when it first got shown, and then it didn't come out, so it's like, it just went. So that's why I ain't got Anthem. That's why I ain't got Anthem. Generally, if they'd have advertised it and then it came out a few weeks later, then yeah. But
well, that leads us into the actual news story itself, which is a piece that Kotaku have done. They've taken a break from writing articles about gender in video games.
Okay, I don't read Kotaku that often.
No, I don't either, but this is a big article, and it's well put together. It's basically researched all about, why Anthem has been such a mess, basically, from the off. And, it's come out, and developers have come out and said that they've been working on this game for a lot longer than people actually knew about.
Yeah.
and that the development cycle has just been, very tumultuous from the beginning, and not even necessarily that, as you would expect, EA was pushing them to do certain things or forcing them down a certain path, but BioWare themselves didn't really know where they were going with the game and kept, rewriting it, not knowing where it was going. So a bit of incompetence on BioWare's part. They put out a prototype to I've forgotten what the boss is called.
It's not Bobby Kotick. That's Activision.
No, that's Activision, yeah.
I can't remember. I know he's on a lot of money, but that's not.
Yes, far too much money. But he played a prototype and he literally said, "This is boring."
Yeah.
So you're gonna have to work on something different. And then apparently that's when they added the flying thing in. Being able to fly around, which they had put in a past build and then taken back out again. And once he played it with the flying, and he played a very orchestrated section of the game,
right,
that's when he then said, "Okay, this is good." And that's when they showed it at E3, and they just showed a really narrow part of the game.
Yeah, a lot of flying. I do remember just they did show a lot of flying, and it went underwater and then back up, and the thing is, every game now looks amazing. Even when they bring out the 8-bit graphic style games, they look like the best 8-bit graphics ever. So
yeah, the flying looked cool and it looked beautiful and everything, but then they landed and it's just like, oh, it's another shooter game.
Yeah, it was
shooting things. And to me, that's just not, interesting in any way. So
it did look like Destiny again. That's what it was. As soon as they landed, it was Destiny, and I wasn't really interested in Destiny when it came out. Well, again, I was when it got first advertised and they were talking about it, but by the time it came out, it's been too long. I played the beta test and that was about it.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I mean, with that, I mean, do you actually think it's gonna be like what a few other people on the internet are saying, that this is probably the end of BioWare, or do you think they're gonna have a chance to come out with another game?
Well, that's kind of where I was going when I was talking about Mass Effect. Is for me, the end of BioWare was when Mass Effect became big, because all these mega fans saying that Mass Effect 2 was the best thing since sliced bread, and I played it and I thought it was a boring cover shooter amongst loads of other third-person cover shooters that were, much better at the time.
Yeah, I never played 2 and 3 because the first one was massive, and I spent, I think, 50, 70 hours or something. I remember 50 at one point. It clicked up to. And I was just, that's a long time to play a game. And then the second one wasn't out much after I'd actually got through the first one. So I can't be bothered. I've just finished this and I want to play something else now. But that had some really cool exploration stuff. And it did. From what I remember, it wasn't really a cover-based shooter.
Mass Effect 2 was more than Mass Effect 1. There's a point in Mass Effect 2 when you first head into the main city, one of the first main cities you visit, where it does become almost surreally bad in a third-person, cover shooter style way, where you'll go through a corridor and there'll be waist-high random pipes or whatever, just really conveniently laid out all along this corridor. Yeah. And that is literally the point where I was just like, this is meant to be the best game around at the moment. And there's literally waist high things, and it's just it's literally a cover shooter.
Yeah.
And then with what I said before about the dialogue trees and that, I switched it off. I was just like, no, Mass Effect 2, not for me.
So you think, so you're saying that BioWare as we knew it slipped then. It went then.
I think what BioWare needs to do, if EA will let them, is exactly what the guys who did Fallout New Vegas did when they were taking contracts off massive companies to make massive games.
Yeah.
And then they just said, okay, you know what? We're really good at, the old style RPGs, Western RPGs.
Right.
This hasn't been fully explored yet. The whole Diablo style, Baldur's Gate style action RPG.
Yeah.
We can do an amazing one right now because no one else is making them. And then they just made Pillars of Eternity, and it was just a classic old style Western RPG.
Obsidian.
Yeah, Obsidian Entertainment. That's it. Yeah.
Actually, they made KOTOR 2.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. They were partying for KOTOR 2 as well. So.
Yeah. And that's the same. They're taking contracts off big companies, and then it just got way out of hand.
Yeah.
With, Fallout New Vegas, which although it is really, really good at the time, I just played Fallout 3 and I was kind of just like, ugh, not more grey, brown, shooty game. I can't handle this much Fallout.
I did enjoy both of them. I've still got them up there. I've still got new.
When I returned to Fallout New Vegas after a few years, it did really, blow me away then. But when I first played it, I was just like, no, this is just the same.
So the start of this was, Bioware.
Yeah, I mean, we can go off on tangents. I mean,
Okay.
I think it's an interesting topic because I've always thought that the Final Fantasy 7, 8, 9 style of RPGs, and also Shadow Hearts, which is under a bit of an under the radar PS2 series, with pre-rendered backgrounds.
Yeah,
I've always thought that those kinds of RPGs could make a comeback easily if someone were to start saying, you know what, we haven't had enough of this generation is pre-rendered backgrounds in classic Japanese style RPGs. There's a developer or a couple of developers that make games on Steam that have made Resident Evil / Silent Hill inspired games with PS1 style graphics.
Okay.
And apparently they're insanely clunky, but they might actually be quite good, even if they are, a bit purposely dated, if you know what I mean.
Right.
Next story. Microsoft had decided that in the latest update to Minecraft, that they would remove Notch Peterson. Yeah, Notch Peterson, I think. His name from the main screen, the main title screen.
Right.
Because of antics on Twitter. Basically.
So I mean, I'm going to be glib about this, but so what? Someone else has lost the job because of something they said on Twitter.
It was Notch's company, basically. So Microsoft bought it.
Okay, fair enough.
So I followed Notch on Twitter for quite a while, and I initially followed him because he did kind of stick up for himself when people were sort of dissing Sweden and stuff, being an SJW paradise or whatever. Since then, he's become an ultra I'm just going to come out and say it is ultra right wing. For some reason, obsessed with American patriotism and American law. When there's those people that constantly say the First Amendment or free speech and all. And it's just it's such an American thing. We don't really say that over here. Things like that.
No.
But Notch is he lives in Hollywood now and is just completely bought into this American lifestyle.
Okay.
And it seemed at first that when I was following him on Twitter, he was quite a progressive person, is, not very materialistic or anything like that, and not letting his rich lifestyle get to him.
Yeah.
It seems that now it has got to him big style, and he's just going off on crazy tangents that just seem bigoted and racist.
I think.
But I suppose the question is, do you think that his name should be removed?
It depends how it's been removed. Is he still on it as creator?
Well, he'll always be the creator because that's just a fact, you know.
I can't remember though, like because you're saying I haven't put Minecraft on for ages, you know. So
on the main title screen,
it
says something like it did say something like created by Notch Peterson or something like that.
Okay, well, you know, if Microsoft don't want to be thinking in all that, embroiled in all of that stuff, then that's just a minor tweak. You know, it's just taking it off, and you don't have that on a lot of games anyway. You don't have the main title screen saying created by blah blah blah. So, but you know, I don't remember seeing it much anyway, and I used to play it all the time. You know, I come on, I click. But as long as it's not a case of like he's getting erased from the history books, like oh no, he never existed. You know, that's fine. You know, he's still gonna be the creator, but you know, he doesn't own it anymore. As you just said, he's been bought out.
I don't see it as a massive deal, to be honest, and it's not really as egregious as when Konami started taking all of Hideo Kojima's, you know, his name from like the posters of Metal Gear Solid and you know all the advertising and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's second to make. Is that? I mean, because there's a difference there. Kojima did he get fired or did he just leave?
He was fired, but he was fired before the game came out.
Yeah.
So it was about to be released, and then
why was he fired?
Apparently, he just had disagreements with the head of Konami.
So that's Konami just you know having you know
being pissed off and saying we don't like you.
We don't like you, so we're just gonna you've brought in millions of sales and billions of dollars. But because I've got a disagreement with you, then we'll just try and erase you. You know that is just a bit petty. That's wrong. But someone that's just going out there, you know, saying the crap that he did. I've got the article up here. It's on about transsexuals. I've just always grown up just to be like, you know, just treat everyone the same, you know, as much as you can. Just treat everyone the same. Yeah. And my only like probably un-PC view on this, or you know, the one something that goes against the norm on this is not saying that trans women are women or are not women. It's just drop the trans. If you know people are trans, if people are transitioning to be another sex, then just be a woman. You know, if you change from a man to be a woman, don't go around saying I'm a trans woman. Because there's no point. You want to be accepted as a woman, just say you're a woman. You know, that's my only that'd be my only thought on that entire thing that he said. I'm guessing he said more than that, but that's what's on there.
Oh yeah,
that's what's on this news story right now. But
the most egregious thing that I went through his tweets because there was a time when I realized he was sort of kicking off a bit, and I went back to it. And the thing I noticed the most was he was perpetuating the basically conspiracy theory that Canada was going to start literally arresting people for like using the wrong pronouns and throwing people in prison. And that is just a flat out lie by right wing people to say that we're living in SJW world. When actually there's just as many crazy right-wing people as there are crazy left-wing people.
Yeah, there are as many crazy people on each side. It's you know the extreme people are the extreme people on both sides are the ones that you got to be wary about. You know, But as I say, with this, not can you know go do one, have a short walk, or a long walk off a short pier, I should say, and. You know, Microsoft own that company. They don't want any, you know, bad blood. And in this world where we are all connected to the internet and people can lose jobs or lose sales just because of association, it's their right. They can get rid of that name.
Yeah.
You know, and saying that though, on the other side of that coin is like with the Kojima thing. It is Konami right to be able to do that, but that was a completely different scenario. That's just them saying, yeah, whatever. You know, this is an actual thing. This new story here is something that he's done something wrong and just get rid. And my only thoughts on all of that lot is what I said. Don't say you're a trans woman, just say you're a woman. If you go out, someone that goes out there and says they're a trans woman, then there's going to be half the people that are going to praise them because of it, and half the people are going to, hate them because of it.
Yeah, so they'll be treated differently either way, whether it's positive or negative.
Yeah, it's and that's wrong. If you just go around saying, "Oh, well, I'm a woman," then there we go. That's fine.
Yeah.
I myself don't want to say else other than that because I get taken off a YouTube role like that. But that's the thing, nothing I'll say about this is a bad thing. It's just that my mindset apparently on that subject, that just my way of putting that is apparently wrong as well, because I have to praise these people. No, you don't. Just treat everyone the same. No one has to be praised or stigmatized because of something. And there we go, done.
I agree with that. So expect both our channels to be taken down momentarily.
Yeah. Expect both to be taken down because we weren't hate-filled and we was quite reasonable.
But yeah, just on a final note about Notch, I personally just think it should stop being on Twitter like literally 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
And maybe make another game sometime soon. Try to make another game. I think that might be a better use of his time.
Yeah, but if you don't need to, he's not gonna. How much did he sell Minecraft for?
Well, that's the thing, innit? But I completely disagree with that, and that's why I'm not a big fan of him anymore. That's one of the main reasons, anyway. Because if money's going to change you that much, that's just bad, man. Reggie Fils-Aimé from Nintendo, who I'm not a big fan of at all, has left Nintendo.
Right. Okay.
And he's been replaced by someone whose last name is Bowser or something. Like, I still don't know whether this is a fake story or like, is it a real story?
I don't know, but that's just funny.
I mean, I would have researched it and stuff, but I don't care about Nintendo. So I know that's very unprofessional of me, but I literally don't give a shit about Nintendo.
Well, at least you're honest about it, Oh my God. Right, I think Reggie he's got a bit of a square head, hasn't he?
Oh yeah, he does have a very square head.
Yeah, okay. At least I know who he is now. There we go. Yeah, okay. I've heard that he was retiring from Nintendo. Is this big news?
Well, I think a lot of people like him and say that he's took Nintendo, at least the American side of it, in a good direction.
Right.
I think he pushed amiibos quite a lot and things like that. But the reason I specifically don't like him is because he's said that he's a big fan of the Mother series.
Okay, yeah.
But he's also like just taken the piss out of fans for like requesting the Mother specifically Mother 3, which is Game Boy Advance and Japan exclusive. He said something along the lines of, we don't release just any old game just because we want to.
Right.
But the Mother series isn't any old game. In a lot of people's opinion, it is literally the best Nintendo game.
Right.
And certainly from a creative standpoint and like a groundbreaking standpoint.
Yeah.
It's surrealist. It's there's nothing like it. Other than Mother.
Which one is it where you fight your own fetus? Maybe
that's Earthbound Mother 2. Yeah,
that's the second one, right? Okay.
It's not. I don't think it's your own fetus. But some people have hypothesized that it is you in either the future or the past.
Right. Okay.
Can't really decide when you were a fetus.
Yeah.
But you were also some sort of intergalactic demon baby. So, it is. There's nothing else like it, and I think Nintendo, more than anything, are just scared to put anything out that freaky and off the wall.
Right.
Like, what they should really be doing, in my opinion, is Mother 4. Instead of just re-releasing Mother 3, like they should be working on, okay, this is Mother 4.
Yeah.
And again, like do it in the old style with classic, SNES style graphics that still look beautiful to this day,
Yeah, it still look good. You still look at them old games that era, and they do look good. They've still got the bright colours and all of that. And then you look at PlayStation games like that should be better looking than the SNES games, and they don't look as good because your nostalgia takes over. Yeah. You know that the SNES games, you know that era of games, you know how they looked. It was all pixels and sprites, but in your mind, you think back to PlayStation, like, oh yeah, they were the best graphics ever. No, no. So yeah, that's why those games still look amazing, and that's why there's a lot of games that are made now that can, emulate that style and still look amazing because that style does look good.
Yeah.
But with it, this guy retires. He wasn't that old, as far as I'm aware. He didn't look old.
Yeah, but I think he was already rich when he became Nintendo president.
Right, okay.
I'm pretty sure he was.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I guess the discussion is just like, was he a good president? And I don't think that he's brought enough just groundbreaking ideas. I know a lot of people would say Amiibo is groundbreaking, and I'm sure he would, because and I forgot the cardboard box thing. Have you played that? Have you played with that?
No, I haven't played the Switch at all, I don't think.
All right, yeah.
But that's what's that called? It's
it's got another stupid name on it.
Switch, Nintendo Switch cardboard. I don't know.
I can't remember. I'd just forgotten about it until now. But yeah,
we could look it up, but then leave it ambiguous. The thing is, I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know how much he's been a good influence on Nintendo, because I was gonna get a Switch, but it wouldn't have been if anything he'd done. I had a Wii for a little bit, but not for long. But I don't follow Nintendo. You say you're not a fan of Nintendo, and I don't really follow Nintendo enough. I can see stuff come out, but I don't know enough about it, like who's produced certain things. So I don't really have much of an opinion on this. To me, it's just somebody's retired. Well done them. They get to sit around in their piles of cash, not have to ever work again. And maybe at one point I might get a Nintendo Switch and enjoy it. But and you're saying like the Amiibos. The Amiibos, like, yes, they are good for collector's shelves, and the amount of money that they brought in.
I've got 2 Amiibos, and they're both from the Mother series. Smash Brothers, Ness and Lucas. So that just shows you something like that,
Fair enough. But yeah, the Amiibos, they were a good addition for certain things, but it's like I think there was a lot of content locked off in them, wasn't there? There was like certain Breath of the Wild, you had to get a certain link to get another costume and stuff. It's like,
They were basically billed as DLC, but you get an extra little figure for your trouble.
yeah, something like that. And Skyrim, if you had the right thing, you could have Link in Skyrim, stuff like that. See, I liked that. It was things like that when it was but it's.
I didn't, because when I play Skyrim, I'm like all ultra immersion mods and like realism mods, and have to take a bath every few in-game hours or whatever.
It's just they were good for some stuff, but then other things, it's like when it is like they're locking off content. You have to buy a toy that's quite hard to find. It's rare, and because it's hard to find and rare, then loads of people buy loads of them, and then it's even harder to find, so the price goes up. It just You know, it's not even Nintendo price gouging people. It's Nintendo screwing people up through an intermediary.
I feel like Reggie Fils-Aimé left a lot of stuff unaddressed, like the whole scalping issue, because Nintendo's terrible for releasing piss poor amounts of things.
Yeah,
and I think he needed to be a bit more, open and clear about things like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just think he's pretty typical, CEO, president, whatever he is. I just think he's a pretty, typical rich guy who doesn't really care about what he's actually, peddling. Although he comes across like he's absolutely loving it.
Yeah.
Like I remember the initial reveal for Amiibo, and he's just like, his face was so smug. It's just like, this is an Amiibo. It's just like, he could not be happier with what he's holding in his hand.
It's like, yeah, but what is it? It's a piece of plastic with a chip. Whoa, okay
then. So this one we did have to do a bit of research, actually, didn't we? Because Sony is not going to be at E3.
Yes.
And then you said to me, I've heard that Xbox wasn't going to be at E3 as well.
Yeah.
But then you did some research, and then
I did some research.
It turns out, how long did it take you?
Well, I went library all day. Historical documents came out. I think I found the Ark of the Covenant as well, and inside that it said Microsoft are at E3.
Ah, that's good then.
Yeah, it was just all I had to do was just type in Microsoft E3 2019, and it said yes.
So I guess there's two ways of looking at this, Sony not being at E3, because I saw someone post, well, of course they're not going to be at E3 because they don't have anything to show. And then I posted a screenshot of the new Yakuza Studio game that's coming out.
Right.
And it was like of a guy going, like looking quite confused and bemused. So yeah, like obviously they have things to show. They've got tons of games coming. Well, I won't say tons of games, but they do have a lot of cult games that are coming out soon. Okay. PS4. Yeah. Like I've always said, they should show off the new Yakuza trailer, because there's Yakuza games are coming out all the time. They just get better and better. It's amazing.
I can see one on your shelf. Then I'm thinking you need to bring that out of mine so I can play it.
But you don't have a PS4.
I do now.
Oh, you do now? Cool.
I didn't buy it.
Yeah, you might have told me.
I won it last week.
Oh, you won it? You didn't tell me.
I thought you'd seen the picture. No, I won the PS4.
No, I saw some live streaming stuff that you did.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's cool, man. You won the PS4.
So I've got a PS4 and no games. I keep playing FIFA because that's what came with it.
Yeah, so, man. Feel free to borrow some stuff.
Yeah, great. Yakuza. I'm just going to demand.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of Japanese studios that are doing weird cult shit with like boobs and bouncing boobs. I've got one here actually.
It's weird. It's really weird. I've got it here. It's just behind me.
So if they were to make a new Galgun game, for instance, which of course would be PlayStation exclusive, they wouldn't show off that. So
it's not friendly enough. It's either they don't want to spend all that money, or they have their own conference anyway, don't they? So there's usually a Sony conference.
They have a technology conference. It's not really to do with the games.
Yeah. Okay.
The cameras and TVs and stuff like that.
Right. Well, maybe this year they're just going to have a little bit on it. Add a little bit at the end, but maybe they just don't want to spend the money. Maybe they can't be bothered. It's a lot. E3. I do look forward to E3, but after I've watched a couple of the things, I'm done. It's always the same. It's always the same stuff. We've got a new game coming out in about 3 years. And enjoy it. And it's just
yeah. I mean, another thing about Sony's E3s is they always try and make it more of a show. So like they have music acts on and stuff like that.
Okay.
And I think if they skip this year, all it means for me is that next year they'll probably just put more effort in and maybe announce something that's gonna, really be surprising, and maybe put on more of a performance with it and stuff. So
clearly, if they're not at this year's E3, then there's no PS5 like on the horizon.
bloody hell, I hope not. I'm
You
sick
know, I
of them releasing consoles, man. PS4's fine. There's no wrong with it.
that's the thing. That's the thing. I mean, we say that. I mean, I've got the Xbox, and I didn't even get that when it first came out.
Yeah.
I got the 360 when that came out, and between the 360 and the Xbox One, was it 8 years, 2005 to 2013? And when the Xbox One were coming out, I was like that. What's wrong with the Xbox 360? But when I was younger, we got the I got the Master System in '92, I think, and not long after that we got the CD32, and then not long after that we got an N64, and then a year after we got a PlayStation.
Yeah.
We were constantly getting new stuff, because we were quite lucky to get new stuff, to be honest. But that 8 years didn't seem long enough, for the 360. It was. I don't know what it was. It's just, as we've got older, as I've got older, it's just because time's going by so quickly and I'm having less time to play games. I don't want another thing to come out when I was younger. It's just like, I've got all the time in the world to play these games, And then by the time the new console came out, it's like, I've played everything I want to play. I want the new console now.
Yeah.
So
I was like that too. Yeah. Like I remember begging my dad for a Dreamcast.
Yeah.
And then he got me the Dreamcast, and I was just like, Sonic Adventure blew me away. I was like, this is the best thing ever. And then PS2 came around the corner, and then I barely played the Dreamcast after that. I didn't even have many games for it at all. And I remember at the time my dad was actually like, you wanted the Dreamcast. We spent quite a lot on that. And I was just like, yeah, but the PS2's, going to be better. And looking back, to be honest, like I should have really bought more Dreamcast games and really explored the library a bit more, which is obviously what I do now. PS1, I just want to play every PS1 game there is.
Yeah.
And I think that it saves you money because you're not buying the newest thing all the time, and you're not buying new games as much. And I think you get more enjoyment out of it because you don't get buyer's remorse as much.
What, with all the games?
No. Say when I buy new games now, right. I often get buyer's remorse because I finish it quite quickly. Yeah. I'm just kind of like, was that really worth like 60 quid or 50 quid? Yeah. When I could have just bought a PS1 game and probably immersed myself in it a bit more and just been like, yeah. Even though I recognize that this is an old game, I can also recognize that it's actually a really good game as well. I'm discovering PS1 games that back when I was a kid I would have been like, oh my god, this is amazing. And now I can really appreciate that more. So
you might be right. I mean, on stuff like that, we've buying new games. I don't anymore because all new games seem to be not the same. But you say there's a lot of cover-based shooters. There's a lot of massive games. Now when I was younger, having a game like Red Dead Redemption 2, you'd get one of them, a game like that, and you just play it for ages. Like what else was out when Grand Theft Auto San Andreas came out? Really, I mean, everyone had San Andreas, and that was one of the few games where you could just keep playing indefinitely. But now Red Dead Redemption 2 comes out, but that's not long after or before Anthem came out, and there's Destiny, and what else came out last year? Not last year, but Witcher 3 came out. All of these games are huge.
So yeah, do you want to talk about how you think Microsoft's going to do with no competition? You think they've got big things planned for this E3, or do you think they have nothing to show as well?
No, they'll have something. I mean, because they've been talking about this discless 360 for a while.
Yeah.
Which what's it?
Discless Xbox, you mean?
Yeah, discless Xbox One. I'm sure it's got a funny name.
That I was thinking the other day though, like ever since the 360, they've been talking about like going the next console is going to be discless, and it's never happened.
Well, I think all it is, they've brought out, because the Xbox One's out, this new one is going to be the Xbox One S without a disc or something. I can't remember. I think it's the Xbox SAD. If you actually take the thing, Xbox SAD, which is just funny. But yeah, all it is meant to be. It's just an Xbox One, but without a disc drive. You know, for if you've got a big digital library and you just want to, like a second one for a different room, and you don't want to have to buy all your games again. You just if you've already got a library, and which a lot of people that have an Xbox should do, because they'll have their games with gold games every month, and you just put it in a different room, and there you go, download it all. Because the thing is, these consoles are meant to be entertainment systems. The entertainment center, and it can't be that if you can't put a Blu-ray disc in them, or you can't put the rest of your optical media in.
Yeah, I didn't think of that. I didn't think of that actually. Yeah.
So, and I can't remember who said it recently on a video, but if they get rid of the disc drives, then the shops that sell the consoles won't be able to sell games, and the shops need the games to stay open.
Yeah.
So that's probably why it won't work. That is one reason it won't work. One thing I don't like is that games won't probably come down in price, which they should have done. They kept saying, "Oh, when we go digital, games will come down in price." Well, they've been digital for 6 years. These games aren't going down. I remember one of the. I'm pointing like they're still there. The Xbox magazine downstairs. I remember when I used to get Xbox magazine. In there, they had a breakdown, like a pie chart breakdown, saying, "Well, this is how much goes to the publisher, and if publisher, the shop, the profit, other things as well, manufacturer, and it said if you buy it digitally, then because all of this part of the pie won't be there, then the cost of the game will come down to just this much." And that never happened. Games come out digitally, and they're still the same price or more expensive, because you've got digital, the digital exclusives, Ultimate Edition, which is just like, why buy an Ultimate Edition digital one when if you're going to do that much, go into the store and get your stupid little statue as well. It's So all digital consoles, I don't want them. I don't want them.
Yeah, I don't think it's a good idea, and I think what it comes down to is it's never a good idea to just have less options.
Yeah,
like, you can download digitally on a normal Xbox that has a disc drive. So okay, let's move on to our topic of the week.
Okay,
which is something I was talking to a friend about the other day, who was also a huge fan of the Yakuza series.
Okay.
And it's to do with the Yakuza Studios' new game that is actually not delayed after all, but it was going to be delayed because one of the main actors, who the likeness of which is in the game, has been snorting some coke.
Yes, allegedly.
and Japan don't like that very much.
Part of it, and I've got the news story up here. It does say he's alleged. He was alleged drug use, but then a bit later on he says, "Oh yeah, I did it."
Oh yeah, I think he's admitted to it.
Yeah, he's admitted it. But I hate it when it says suspicion of using cocaine. How did he get suspicious? Was he like floating around? I absolutely abhor drug use. There's a lot of stuff out there that I just can't stand. So,
in what way though do you think that people are irresponsible for using drugs?
I think this. I've always been against it.
Yeah.
But there's way too many people that are just like, they have a mindset of, oh, everybody does it, so it's all right if I do it. it says that Japan has strict drug laws, and most countries do. They have very strict drug laws for a reason, and they could carry a sentence up to 7 years. And what else did it say? That were they remaking part of the game to take his likeness out?
Well, that's the thing, because in Yakuza 4, I believe, there was a character who was going to look a certain way, and they actually remade the model for that character.
Right.
So it was delayed in the West. In fact, it might have even been delayed in Japan, Yakuza 4, because of the very same issue, but with another person. That was one of the main characters in Yakuza 4. It was literally the exact same issue. That's the reason why people were thinking it was going to be delayed, because they were thinking, oh, well, they'll have to redo the model again, everything like that, which is that is the part I don't agree with. Like, it's just by having his likeness in the game still, that's not Sega saying, well, we completely endorse everything he does. He's an artist at the end of the day. He's an actor, and his acting is just as valid whether he uses drugs or not. They shouldn't have to redo loads of work and try and hide. It's like they're trying to hide the fact that they ever had involvement with it, when what they should do is just be open and say, we didn't know what was going on.
But this is the same sort of thing as the Minecraft thing. We're going back to the Minecraft thing. Like, said some stuff, so Microsoft got rid of it because Microsoft got rid of his name. This is kind of it's encroaching the same territory as that.
Yeah, but they didn't get rid of any of the art, like the art that was created, or the creative process. I think that's the main issue I have with it.
Okay, so
Microsoft just removed a name.
I don't know. Are they just changing the voice or the likeness as well?
The model, the actual character model.
But do they have to make it into a real person? Do they have to make?
That's just what they do in Yakuza. They have like Japanese porn stars and stuff in the games and that with their likeness.
So all the main characters are pretty much like proper people.
Yeah. They are.
Yeah. Oh, all right. Okay then. Okay. So this is more of, like, as you say, an acting job. Then it's not just someone come in and do the voice and
and I have to say as well, the facial animations and stuff in Yakuza, especially in like the main cutscenes, are phenomenal.
Right.
The acting is one of the main things that makes Yakuza stand out. So it's a really important part of the game,
On the other hand, it is, it's their sales. If their big audience is Japan, and Japan is like this, and they have a whole clean living standard, and they think they're going to lose sales just because this guy's in there, and he's being caught doing that, then it's their money after all. It's their business. It's their property. It's their IP.
That's a good point, actually. I didn't really think of it that way, because if their main audience is Japan, and Japanese people think, I don't want to buy that now because of this person being in it still, then that is a valid point, I guess.
I think the rest of the world won't give a crap. For some things I probably wouldn't. I wouldn't care. I know a lot of people out there will, they find out that some person did something bad 35 years ago, and then suddenly, everything that they did was bad. It's like, no. He's done something bad now, but anything he did before isn't suddenly tainted because he did something bad now. And on the other side of that, there are people that have come back, which they kind of shouldn't do. Like, I know Robert Downey Jr. He got screwed for cocaine in the late 90s, and I remember thinking at the time, well, that should be his career done then. Why is he back?
But that's like saying anyone who commits a crime should be like sentenced to a lifetime of just working in a shop counter or something. Like, they they can't do anything ever again that isn't just menial tasks for the money.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, I think we're on the same page. No, it's not that bad. No. People, if it's a public eye thing, you're in the public eye, you should be able to carry a good image, because everybody, they always say like, oh, there's certain people that are role models. Not all the people in the public eye are role models, in a sense. I mean, even you and I will be at some point. Someone will watch one of our videos and want to emulate that. We're role models, and if we're doing videos that are arsey, then people that are emulating it'll be arsey as well. So, everyone out there can be a role model. You're meant to be a good one, So
yeah.
And I think the main thing on this story is in the end it is Sega's IP. They want to make money. They want to sell in their biggest market, and if they feel that they have to do that, then that's what they have to do. But on the other side, as you say, he's been paid. They can't take that money off him because he's actually done the job that they paid him for. So they can't take that money off him. Unfortunately, he spent it on the wrong stuff. But, they can't take that money off him because he fulfilled his contract, and it's just done something that he shouldn't have done.
Yeah. The other thing I was discussing with my friend, which is quite interesting, and I think about this quite a lot because I'm a huge fan of Japanese culture.
Yeah.
And I'm also anti-American. So they are quite literally like opposites in a lot of ways, not just geographically, because they're like on the other side of the map. Although, technically,
they're just there.
Yeah. Technically, if you were to look at the map another way around, they would be closer.
Yeah.
But just culturally, like there's a lot of opposites there. Like in America, it's like, as you say, Robert Downey Jr. did drugs. He's come back all right. But if he were to get caught doing sex, weird sex stuff, it might not be so bad, so good for him.
No.
Whereas in Japan, it's like there's literally porn stars in this Yakuza game.
Yeah.
And my friend tells me also that some of them do some quite dirty stuff. in
Your friend, yeah.
No, this is a friend.
Oh, there is actually a friend that exists that has watched this stuff. Okay, then.
She'll watch the video. Maybe she'll comment below. and
you threw a curveball in there. Then you went she. My God, I'm finding out way too much.
There's perverted sex stuff all over in Japan, and it's quite in the public eye. Stuff that would definitely be, companies in America would want to distance themselves from that, just as with the drugs, Japanese people wanting to distance themselves from drugs. And again, I think the Japanese way of looking at things is much, much better, than much more healthy than the American way of looking at things.
Yeah, maybe. And saying that reminds me of something. And it goes back to what we were talking about with Fortnite, like violent games. People. Because people have played a violent game to go on and commit violent crimes. Well, rape games, or they used to be illegal in Japan, and they were a huge seller. But Japan has the lowest rape per capita of the world.
Yeah.
So, okay, then. So if it's games that make people do this stuff, then obviously it's not.
Yeah, because they're the country that's known for rape games.
Yeah,
so,
it's like and they've got the lowest. They've got the lowest thing. It's none of this stuff makes sense. I think people just blame stuff. But that was just a tangent and go back to that first. But it's like, yeah, you're right. There are massive differences about the way of life over there and in America. And you see that just when you watch certain things. I mean, even today, working life, I think they still have exercise regimes on tops of buildings where they're all doing kata and stuff like that.
Yeah.
they think more about themselves, but not in a way of a selfish way of being themselves. They just think about their body a lot more to be more productive. And in America, it would be a case of they're thinking about their body just to think about themselves all the time,
Yeah. And working more as like a slave. It's more as wage slavery type.
Yeah.
Rather than, I mean, I've always said it. There's people go on about, we need to start bigging up more female composers, female game designers. In Japan, it's like a much more even split between male and female, especially with composers. So many great female Japanese composers, Thank you very much for watching / listening, ladies and gentlemen. That was the Retro Perspective Podcast episode something. Thank you very much to my co-host, Mort from Mort's Moments.
Thank you for having me. It's been fun.
Yeah. So once again, I'm going to click stop broadcast and hope to hell that this has all been recorded.